Hello, welcome to the Coffee House. Glad you're back. I'm Vic Bonacci. I'll be your barista today. Pardon us, we're still under construction here at the Coffee House. We're going to be putting in a drive-through window so that some of our friends can come on by and share what's on their mind. As you can see, because of the fact that you're one of the first ones here, there's plenty of space and lots of things to do, so welcome. We're still hiring, so this is still our soft launch. We haven't gone too public with this coffee house yet, but we will be shortly. I don't know what that means, how shortly. Could be a week, probably not a week. Could be a month, maybe in the middle of the summertime, something like that. We'll find out, but welcome to the coffee house. Every day here at the coffee house, I try to think of how can I interact with you in a lightweight way, something like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, just the length of time it takes for you to get a cup of coffee at your favorite coffee shop. Well, here we are. Today's special of the day is something called heuristics. Now, heuristics might sound like a word that's very technical. It's not. It just means kind of a shorthand way to learning, a tool, a rule of thumb, they called it. Back a few years ago in Agile 2018, I was a speaker there, and I had this talk called Coaching Heuristics. What's in your toolkit? And you can scroll down and open up the presentation here, and you can see in it, it's a lousy picture of me, but in it you had the definition of heuristics, enabling a person to discover or learn something for themselves, a heuristic process or method. There was a person, Billy von Kohn, who wrote about heuristics, and we'll have more information on him and heuristics shortly down the line. But I like these points that he shares here. He says, a heuristic does not guarantee a solution. It may contradict other heuristics. They're not perfect, in other words. Heuristics aren't meant to be the be-all, end-all. It's just something that gets you closer to a solution. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It might contradict another heuristic, but it's something that, as I said in the presentation, it moves you forward in your problem solving. And so back then in 2018, I was talking about heuristics because I had recently created this toolkit. This is the fourth deck of cards that I created in that time, and I loved it. I called it the Coach's Toolkit. It was one of those decks of cards that was really fun to make because on the front it might say a tool's name or a heuristics name, and on the back it has some information. So for example, we had the Tuckman model of group development, the forming, storming, norming, the Prime Directive by Norm Kurth, really good one, Effects of Project Switching by Jerry Weinberg. I love this data, and I use this in many of my classes when I talk about project switching. Imposter Syndrome is a good one, Hierarchy of Needs is another one. So a whole deck full of these tools, and I like it because as a coach I could get familiar with some of these tools so that I could recognize when I might want to speak of them, either to an individual or to a group or an organization, reminding them that they're not perfect tools, perfect summations of what the exact problem case is, but at least it's something that gets us closer. I always likened it to Spider-Man swinging from one web to another, or Tarzan from one vine to the next, getting them closer to the problem. So anyway, that's it. That's the idea of heuristics today. We will go into much more depth, but here in these videos I like to keep it short. Just give you an idea. Something to think about as you're sipping your cafe mocha, right? If you want more information though, come and subscribe to our podcast, the Agile Coffee Podcast, where we talk about all types of topics, including heuristics is coming up on one. And also I'd encourage you to, leave a tip, world's tiniest tip jar right here, in the form of going to our Patreon page. That's let's go to the right site. Here it is, Patreon. Wow, that's a nice looking shirt he's got on there. If you become a patron of ours, it doesn't take much, like the cost of a cup of coffee a month, and you'll have access to the longer form videos, the drive-through segments that I end up doing when my friends come to get their cup of coffee at the drive-through window. So we'll be recording those as well as other content in there. In fact, we haven't defined all the tiers yet, but by the time you look at the Patreon page at patreon.com/agilecoffee, you may find that I'll be giving away decks of cards to certain levels of patrons, or the ever elusive Agile coffee mug. More to come there. So check back often, and in the meantime, enjoy your coffee with friends, and we look forward to seeing you next time.